You've never heard of the Millennium Falcon?
Should I have?
It's a ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Kessel Run Weekly. My name is Danny.
And I'm Kristen.
And welcome to our Resistance review for Episode 3, Fuel for the Fire.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Alright, first one to reach that sky ring is the winner. Be waiting for you there, Kaz. Sorry, can't let you pass. Hey, there's nothing wrong with second place.
So Kristen, first thoughts of Season 1, Episode 3 of Star Wars Resistance.
First thoughts, well, it's making its way.
Making its way downtown?
Yep. You didn't let me finish. How dare you?
Oh.
Literally, I was starting to say downtown as you were like, downtown?
Sorry.
You always have to interrupt a good thing.
Oh, I'm very sorry.
It's okay. But it's making its way. It's slowly showing us pieces of the characters that we've been wanting to see. I'm still dying to see a lot of the racers that we haven't seen yet.
Mm-hmm.
Getting a little bit to know Kaz a little bit more, introducing some new characters. Gave us a little background into Yeager that I was really...
Little peek behind the curtain.
Little peek behind the curtain. Not much, but a little bit. I'm dying to know more.
It's like they're teasing us with small morsels.
They are. They most definitely are. But overall, I'm still enjoying the series. Just kind of waiting, not like ready for it to be over necessarily. I'm just kind of waiting for, like, I guess, I don't know. I feel like there's going to be something big at the end.
Okay.
And I'm just like, I want all my questions like answered. Like, I want to know who the spy is. I want to know the rest of the characters.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. To me, I'm starting to get a little antsy, I guess. I'm not sure if that's the right
We're only 3
word.
episodes in.
I know, but like the trailers were harping so hard on all those racers.
True.
They even gave us like an in-depth like feel of the racers, and we've only met one, and we're 3 episodes in. Like, I just kind of thought it would start, and we would automatically know all the racers, and it would just be like...
Start with excitement.
Yeah, I just kind of thought that the whole show was going to revolve around those racers, not around just Kaz. You know what I mean? And so, I'm kind of disappointed that we haven't seen anything else about those racers yet, but I know they're coming. So, I'm trying to...
Patience, young Padawan.
Yes, I'm trying. I'm finding it a little hard, though, because like I said, I'm really, like, I've got questions, I want answers, and I'm just getting a little antsy because I'm just ready to know, like, all of it. Like, I could sit down and watch all of Clone Wars and be done, but I'm sure this is how exactly people felt when they were watching Clone Wars, like, live and stuff.
Right.
And Rebels, when you didn't have the next episode after episode. But, yeah.
Okay.
What do you think, Danny? What was your first thoughts?
Well, so this episode, I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, you were right next to me while I was watching it, and I was kind of laughing and everything at it. It does have a childish feel to it.
Well, Danny, it's a kid's show.
It is.
Congrats, you found the childlike version of it. Not version, the childlike feature.
Not a complaint.
Oh, I know, I'm just saying.
Just a description.
Well, I don't want to like go into the negative here or anything, but I kind of look to see how the episodes do. On like IMDb and all, and I'm kind of disappointed that people are rating them so low.
Oh, you can't look at those.
I know, and I read some really long thing about somebody venting about how the writing's just bad, and you can say it's a kid's show, but that's just a poor excuse because it's just the bad writing and the bad characters and the bad this and the bad that.
I disagree with all of that. I don't feel like it's bad writing at all. I love the animation style, the
like
art
animation
style. Right.
They should just go live under a rock.
And so another thing to that, I mean, and I guess before we get into the actual review of the show, another thing to that, like before the first episode even aired, I saw 4 reviews already up on IMDb that pretty much all said about the same thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff, and it's we live in a weird time where bots just rule ratings for whatever reason.
We do. A lot of what I'm seeing is, which it probably relates to that anyway, though, is a lot of people are like, yeah, Disney bought Star Wars and they don't know what they're doing. Like, I don't know. But it's like, dude, it's Disney. Like, seriously?
I'm enjoying it. I mean, and I don't feel like I'm biased. I don't feel like I'm some kind of Disney drone that's just going to consume everything or whatever.
I love Disney. I love Disney. I love Disney.
I'm not going to say that Disney can't do any wrong, because they've released some flops for movies. I mean, it happens from time to time. But at the same time, I don't know. I'm genuinely enjoying what they're doing with Star Wars. There's been some times where I'm like, well, yeah, I probably wouldn't have done that or something like that. But like,
isn't that in all of the movies though?
Exactly. It's almost like the magic of Star Wars. Like, there's always going to be things that you're like,
well, I'm not talking about just Star Wars. I'm talking about just in general. There are not other movies within the world that you're like, I would have done that different. You know why you would have done that different? Because you're not the one that directed it. You didn't have a purpose for it. You didn't have a vision for it.
Right.
So that's fine that you want to do something different, but until you decide to go take your butt over there and learn how to direct a movie and write a movie, then shut your pie hole. That's just how I feel. Like, I'm not going to go in a doctor's office and be like, I think it's a brain tumor. You know why?
I would have done that differently, Doc.
Right. I would have done that differently. You know why? Like, because, you spent 10 years in medical school to tell me how to do my job? Okay. Get out. Like, just let that sink in, guys.
Yeah. But I mean, in all honesty, so again, the me saying that it felt childish is not a negative thing.
I know. I was just joking with you.
It's more of just, I mean, you can tell that it's younger.
It's meant for that.
And it's perfectly fine. I still enjoy it. I still have fun with it. And it's almost like you know what it is, so it's more enjoyable.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're not trying to make it grown up and you're not trying to make it into this whole kind of like, ooh. But again, just like Rebels started off kind of, I guess, cheery, kind of immature and everything, but it matured along with every single season.
Yes.
Where it actually started getting into the meat of all the story. Resistance has yet to touch that yet.
Right.
And so I think once we start getting towards Force Awakens, because this is just before Force Awakens, things are going to get darker. Because, the Hosnian system is going to blow up during this series. So that's not exactly a light topic to deal with.
Right.
I mean, we did see Starkiller in pretty much the first episode. So...
But just to wrap up our little rabbit hole vent, I think the important thing is just to try not to go in with the expectations. Because if you go in with an expectation of what it's going to be or how it's going to be laid out for you,
enemy
then...
of a Star Wars fan.
I mean, it really is. Because, I mean, if you have an expectation of how it's going to go, I feel like 9 times out of 10, you're probably just going to be disappointed. Yes, we like our theories, but guess what? I'm not like... betting money on my theory that it's going to happen.
It's more like oh man, well that would have been cool.
Yeah, I mean,
or that was cooler. I'm glad they did it that way and not my way.
Exactly. So I think that's just the important thing, is just to try not to get like too high hopes for it.
Sure.
But...
Well, in going into our episode, so Fuel for the Fire.
Did we put fuel on the fire?
I think we just put fuel on the fire. What a twist.
Brought to you by Kids and Run Weekly.
That was not planned.
It wasn't, but that was really good. That's funny.
So Fuel for the Fire. So this episode I thought was cool because we actually get to learn of a new team of racers that weren't advertised in the original. So we meet Rucklin and his band of miscreants.
Yes.
His 2 mechanics. And Rucklin is voiced by none other than Mr. Frodo, Elijah Wood.
Yeah. Pretty cool to see another familiar face jumping into Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So. I don't think that Elijah Wood's been able to be in Star Wars yet. So I don't know, that's cool. Welcome to Star Wars, Elijah.
Welcome to the dark side. I'm just kidding.
So unfortunately, Rucklin, starting out, Rucklin kind of befriends Kaz, because Kaz is a little down on his luck, because, he's been a little irresponsible trying to fix a engine that he let just kind of fly off the side of the platform.
He hasn't really gotten his priorities, which, I mean, I don't know. I guess you can't really say his priorities, because to him, his priority is just spying.
Right.
But to Yeager, his priority is to blend in and be a mechanic. And he's like, but I'm not a mechanic. And it's like,
he's like,
yes, idiot. But you have to pretend to be one. Don't let people know that, you fool.
I feel like Yeager's almost your spirit animal.
In a way. I mean, I feel like this is the first time we've really seen like Yeager's like angry side in a way. I mean, he's been
frustrated with Kaz.
He is. And he's been a little frustrated here and there, especially in the beginning when he like didn't want to take Kaz in. But it
was more of a facepalm kind of thing.
It was, but this time it was like almost like a daddy talk, I feel like, to Kaz.
Yeah.
And you can obviously tell Kaz is still this young boy, just trying to find his way. He's growing up, learning lessons, So, yeah, like Danny was saying, he let his engine, or the engine, I guess, to Fireball, fall in the water because he wanted to watch the race that he wanted to watch the race that Yeager essentially told him he couldn't watch.
Yeah, he was going to stay there and fix the engine instead, and everyone else was going to the race.
Right. So he got this bright idea to bring the engine out closer to the race, like outside, and
closer to the edge of the platform.
Which the edge of the platform is water. So it went.
Yeah. So the engine that was dead for the majority of the first part started, kind of sputtering a little bit to life, just enough to find its way over the edge into the water. So,
right.
And it was funny too, the whole way it played out, because a lot of this stuff kind of feels kind of Looney Toony at a couple points. But this was kind of the first of that, where it was like that part, and you're like, something happens and you're watching it happen and you're like helpless to stop it. But all you can say is, no, please don't, no.
Pretty much. It's like when you're watching something fall and break, or
it's like all of a sudden it's in slow motion. And it's just like, oh god,
like kind of like as you drop your phone
right
on concrete, and all you can do is just stare at it, and then when you pick it up, all you can do is hope that you didn't break it.
And as it falls to the ground, hello darkness, my old friend.
Pretty much. Some knock on some wood because I haven't broke any phones like that yet.
Yeah, well, I got a new phone for the first time in my life and then dropped it promptly that same day. So
the first new phone you've ever had?
Yeah.
Oh,
like
God.
new.
I thought you were joking.
No, all of mine are hand me downs.
I thought you were joking. That's why I was like, oh my gosh.
That's the first time I've actually bought a new one. Yeah.
That was so much sarcasm that just came out of me because I thought you were joking. I thought you were like legit joking, like, yeah, my brand new phone, the first phone I've ever had in my 30 years of life.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome, but good Lord, I've had a handful of new phones. Sorry, Danny.
Well, all right then. But yeah, so he kind of gets a lesson in priorities right out of the gate.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of this episode is it feels kind of like a coming of age, kind of like you're learning a life lesson. Because Kaz thinks, again, like what you said, that his priority is spying and learning the information and finding the First Order spy. But in order to do so, he does have to blend in and keep a cover, and it's a lot more complex than he chooses to believe. And so he's kind of down on his luck at Anti-Z's, and I love the part where he's talking to her, and he's like, have you ever said something, because this is after he and Yeager get in a fight. He's like, have you ever said something that you instantly regret? She's like, yes, as a matter of fact, when I said, hello, Kaz.
I instantly regretted it.
Yeah.
Very funny.
I was like, dang.
Like, oh my god, lady.
Which leads to a funny part where he's talking about trying to find a place to stay, stuff like that, or if he'd have to. And then this old alien at the end of the bar is like, you can come stay with me. And he's like, hard pass.
He's like, no, that's going to be a no for me. It's a no for me, dog.
But, I mean, there was a lot of kind of like funny passing moments like that. But he ends up meeting his supposed friend, Rucklin.
Yes, who essentially bring him over to their table, kind of chat, talk about, oh man, you're the one that raced with, what's her name?
Tora?
Pretty much like, you're the one that raced with Tora, and oh my gosh, you survived. Like, you actually put up a good fight.
You didn't explode.
Exactly. Like, just kind of like blowing up his head, essentially.
Oh, absolutely.
Just, pushing his ego, stroking that ego. That's what I meant. Stroking that ego. And then they're like, yeah, well, we're actually about to go race. You want to join us? And obviously, Kaz loves to race. Mm-hmm. So he's like, heck yeah, I'm in. So they take a shortcut. And at this point, I kind of knew that Rucklin, his little
something was off.
Band, I guess, were not, they didn't have the best intentions.
They weren't all they were chalked up to be. Yeah.
Because after they take off to go race, they Rucklin's like, I know a shortcut. So they jump into, like, this grate, I guess, underneath the,
So Ezra's
ship or
affinity is Vince, and Kaz's grates so far.
so far. And as they go, only Rucklin and Kaz go, and the rest of the little gang stays back. And I guess they go find a little, like, edge somewhere to watch them. But they get on some bikes.
Little speeder bikes.
Yeah. And they take off, and it's going good. And even Kaz, like, jumps over Rucklin, and it's, like, pretty impressive. And
Yeah, he's making some cool moves.
yeah, and then something starts happening to his bike. At first, I thought he got shot at for some reason.
Well, it looks like on the front of Rucklin's bike that it has some kind of, like, small cannons to it.
Did it?
To me, it did. I couldn't tell if they were, like, just prongs or if it was actual guns. But, like, I thought the same thing, too. Like, it looked like it got shot. But the way that when you find out that it wasn't that something was going on with his bike itself.
Yeah, so his bike's starting to malfunction. And he's like, I gotta get off this. Like, if I hit the water at this speed, I'm toast. So Rucklin's like, oh man, you're joking. Like, haha, like, no excuses. And kind of keeps, going. And he's like, no, man, like, I'm gonna, like, this is bad. And I guess Rucklin realizes it, which is part of the plan. And, like, gets up towards him. And, Kaz jumps on his little bike. And, as they go back and everything's good, Rucklin makes a little, like, look at his little buddy. And he's like, good job with that speeder bike. And I was just like, God, I don't like these guys.
Like, we got him right where we want him, or we got him hooked or something like that. Yeah. Because even Kaz is like, thanks, guys, I owe you one.
Right.
Yeah.
So they put him in a position of owing him one, essentially. And then, the thing that's kind of funny, too, is I like they know a lot about Yeager. And I don't feel like they do. I feel like they know tidbits from what they've heard from other people. Even though it never really says that, I just feel like they don't actually know much about him.
I don't think that they do. I think, like you said, I think it's all rumor and kind of like his race
Speculation.
record. Yeah, speculation. Because, like, Kaz doesn't know that Yeager's really a racer. The only racer that he knows that he has is the Fireball. And they were like, oh, no, not that junk.
Right.
Like, even throw that one under.
It was funny that he did say that, though, because then he was like, oh, no, not that. Oh, God, what did he call it?
It's like exploding piece of junk or something like that.
It was something funny along, like, the lines of Fireball as to why it's called Fireball. So that part was really funny to me.
Yeah. But basically they go on, I guess, because they know who Yeager used to be as far as racing and things like that. And so then that's when Kaz is like, oh man, maybe I don't know everything about Yeager. And Rucklin kind of goes through this whole thing where he's like, oh, have you ever seen Yeager's racer? And he's like, oh no, not that bucket of junk, and his real racer. And Kaz is like, he has a secret racer? Like, there's another one?
Right.
And they're like, yeah, totally, yeah. And we'll have to see if we can sneak in and all this other kind of stuff. And he's like,
see it.
Yeah, sneak in and see it. Kind of like, I mean, it literally plays out like those kids that are trying to sneak into the junkyard after dark and all this other kind of stuff. And so Kaz trusts them. And even though BB-8 the whole time is like, dude, you're an idiot, stop.
Pretty much.
Like, I can't count how many times Kaz got hit in the shin by that metal ball over and over again.
Right?
Like, it had to have hurt.
It did. I mean, there's a lot of times BB-8 like ran into the back of his leg, ran into the side of him, ran into him any way he could just to get his attention, to be like, no, you idiot. Like,
stop being stupid.
Right. Like, oh, things are getting away, or oh, don't do that.
Right.
Don't say that.
But against BB-8's better wisdom, Kaz and Rucklin sneak into Yeager's office.
Yes. We find out a couple cool things about Yeager. So we end up seeing a bunch of trophies. So we realize, he's a racer, which I think, at this point we may have already kind of assumed that, but we weren't really.
Well, he was a pilot in the Rebellion. I don't know that we ever established that he might have been a racer.
Right,
or
but I mean, you can only assume that if he was a pilot, he was a great.
Especially being in the culture that he's on the Colossus now, you got to imagine that you were an ace pilot in the Rebellion.
Right, or if he wasn't, maybe he was kind of like what, he is being to Kaz right now, where he's kind of more like a mentor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe he like gets the trophies after somebody he helps wins the race. You know what I mean? Like he trains them, pilots them. You know what I mean? Like maybe something like that. But I don't know. We'll find out. And we actually see a couple pictures of Yeager.
Yes.
Him, I think, is he with Poe or is it just with another pilot?
No, it's just another pilot.
Okay,
Yeah.
I couldn't really tell, and I think I tried to ask you,
There's
but
a
I don't
couple
think you
pilots.
heard
Looks
me.
like one is a purplish Twi'lek.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
And then another one's a human that's got his face kind of blotted out by the resistance helmet.
Yes,
or rebel helmet.
looks similar to Poe to me too, but it's
Yeah.
probably not because I think Poe would have been much younger.
Yeah.
At that point, so Poe would have been like
Because this is 30
toddler.
years after that. So
Right. But the picture was like the rebellion celebrating something, and it happened to be a picture from the Battle of Jakku.
Yes, I called it too before they even said it.
You sure did.
I saw the Star Destroyer in the sand, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's the Battle of Jakku!"
Yeah.
and he's like, "I didn't know he fought at the Battle of Jakku." I'm like, "Me neither."
Yeah, so that part was pretty cool. And then it swaps to another picture, and it's looks like him and his family.
Yeah.
A wife and a daughter.
I can't remember if it was a daughter or a son.
I think it was a daughter. But
It was a
We'll say a
child.
child
Yes.
just to be on the safe side.
Tis a child.
She's a child, so he obviously had a wife and a kid.
Mhm.
And it just kind of makes you wonder, like, where is this wife and kid now?
Mm-hmm.
What happened to them?
Well, and I know I mentioned during the episode where the picture was taken.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
No, tell me, Danny. Where was it taken?
So it was taken on Batuu, which is the location for Galaxy's Edge coming out next year for Disney.
Yay!
Where you actually get to step into a Star War.
Oh my god! Like, stop it!
gonna
I'm
be
so
freaking
excited.
awesome.
Just stop it! Like, we
But-
can't go down that rabbit hole.
But like you can actually, and I think I saw this on. It was Steele Saunders. He had posted this on his Instagram stories, where it was a comparison of the concept art for Batuu, and then the spires behind Yeager's family, and that's Black Spire Outpost. Like that's that.
That's that.
Yeah, so, I
That's
mean
cool.
it's freaking cool.
Yeah.
That's
That
the
is
first
really
time
cool.
we've actually gotten to see that on the screen, because first time Batuu showed up was in Thrawn Alliances.
So I wouldn't know that.
I haven't gotten to read the book yet, but I know that I think it's Anakin and Thrawn go to Black Spire Outpost or something like that. So yeah,
Okay, well, I guess you'll have to read it and figure it out and come back and tell us.
absolutely.
But so we get a couple looks at Yeager, and they're kind of sneaking around. They get interrupted a lot, which is pretty funny. Bucket walks in, Yeager walks in,
Tam walks in.
Tam walks in. Yeah, there's a few instances there where they can almost get caught. So after getting interrupted a few times, Rucklin eyes something.
Yes,
And we kind of realized before this, though, that they had a different agenda.
Yeah.
Than going and looking for the ship.
Mm-hmm.
So he finds the the Carillion hyperfuel.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting name, if you ask me.
Very familiar too.
It is. So it actually, you may know by another term called refined coaxium.
Yes. A little solo connection there.
Yeah. Little solo.
Yeah.
But so he eyes it and kind of sneakishly grabs it as Kaz isn't looking. And it's like, oh wow, that's a close one. See you next time, or see you later. You know,
Yeah,
kind
he's
of runs
the
out.
worst.
He is, yeah, kind of runs out.
Got his hands behind his back, walking backwards, and
I
Kaz is
know.
the whole time looking at him like,
No, Kaz wasn't even looking
you're
at him. He
weird.
was staring at something else.
That's true.
He
Yeah,
was staring
yeah.
at the picture, I think. He was just like daydreaming about something over there. And it was
Yeah.
like, what are you doing? Because I mean,
Yeah.
you surely would have noticed that.
Right.
But so he ran out and runs to his crew and it's like, hee, we did it.
Yeah.
You know, all evil like, and decide that this is what they needed the whole time to give him the extra boost that he needed as a racer to win and stuff. So he pours like the whole thing in his tank just about. And
And so we've seen what coaxium can do to the Falcon. Imagine what it does to a little personal racer, which, by the way, they decided to strip all unnecessary things.
Oh.
Or, I'm sorry, all things that they deem unnecessary.
right, but don't forget.
to make it lighter for a
Right.
racer.
Right. So as they realize it's gone, after Bucket's doing like an inventory, realizes it's gone, comes freaking out there to Tam and
Tam and Niku.
Tam and Niku.
Mhm.
Did I say Tam?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Comes freaking out to Tam and Niku, and they're like, what's going on? Like, why are you freaking out? Your circuit's overloaded. Like, and he tells them that what's missing, and she's like, oh my gosh, like that's dangerous. Like more than 2 drops, it turns a ship into a bomb. And at that point, Kaz is like putting it all together, like who else was in there that would have taken it, and realized, and actually, as the good person that Kaz is, actually tries to like run and race to get to Rucklin and his crew to like warn them and tell them to get him not to race because he knew he was racing today.
So one thing that I actually really like about Kaz and the way he reacted in that situation, because a lot of times I feel like the characters would go straight to the part of "you betrayed me. How could they do this to me?" and kind of like a small angry self-pity kind of thing before they go and reach to help. It never crossed Kaz's mind. Like the first thing he said was "bomb,"
right?
And he flipped out. He's like, "I've got to go save my friends."
Right? Like he still was considering him a friend, even though he knew
he stole
him.
Yeah,
he stole it and essentially used him in order to get in there.
Yeah,
but I do like that about Kaz. I think that was very that says a lot about his character.
Absolutely,
I think.
Definitely.
So as he races, he realizes he's not going to make it in time, so he goes and takes that shortcut that he learned earlier.
Yeah.
And he just runs, and he finally gets there, and he actually jumps on top of Rucklin's ship. Chaos
Which wasn't
ensues.
exactly the brightest thing he could have done.
No.
But I mean, what else really could you have done?
You had to stop it, though.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if I feel like if you knew your friend and their car was about to drive away and their car could possibly explode, like...
But I mean...
Wouldn't you jump on their car?
But is jumping on it the best thing to do?
No, I'm not saying it was the best thing.
Hey,
I'm just saying.
Just want to let you know your ship's about to explode. I'm going to pace myself to your windshield.
Right.
To let you know said thing. I'm on the explosive thing now.
Pretty much. So that was pretty funny. He ends up like getting open the little like glass door, I guess. What do you call it? I don't know.
He gets the cockpit open.
Yeah. And it's like, you can't fly. And Rucklin's just like super confused. Like, what are you talking about? Like, no. Like, get off my ship. I have to fly. I have to race. It's about to start.
You're ruining everything.
Right. So they're having this little like powwow. And Kaz is just like, I'm trying to save you. Like, and so he ends up, they end up like free falling, essentially. And as they're free falling, he ejects them in the seat in the air. And as they're just kind of gliding around up there, like they finally start falling down, he's like, "Where's your chute?" And then we learn that it was not deemed
it was deemed unnecessary and non-essential to have a parachute for your emergency ejection.
Right. So there was no longer a parachute to help them. I don't think it would have been that bad, though, if they would have ended up in the water. But that's not what happens, unfortunately. So, well, I guess it's not really unfortunately, but it's not what happens.
We know what you wanted to see.
Fortunately, BB-8
saves the day.
He does. He does his little like wire out, grabs them, and I was like, oh god, like
as the ship explodes in the background.
It does. Yeah, the ship takes off.
Didn't get very far at all.
It didn't. It probably got like good enough away where it didn't really rock the station, I guess what we call it. But it did straight up, just boop, blew up. So this in the distance, the ship blows up, and then we have BB-8 grabbing them by his little like wire, trying to pull him up, and we see BB-8 struggling. We see him kind of sliding, trying to reverse his little ball to get him up, and because I mean at this point there's two of them, you know, it's Kaz and Rucklin, so it's a lot. BB-8's a tiny little, like, droid, like...
But he was trying,
He was.
He was the little droid that could.
Very good, very good. So then we see Yeager step in and grab the rope and start to pull him up.
So Yeager gets them up on the platform, and at that point, because Kaz gets up there, and he's like, oh, thank you, Yeager. He's like, don't forget to thank BB-8.
Yes. And then BB-8's like...
Yeah. He's like, yeah. Thank me. What are you talking about?
If it weren't for me, you'd be in the water.
Right. It's like, I help too. But it's funny though, because once he gets up on the platform, Kaz and Rucklin are crawling up, and Yeager's got dad face. Bad dad face.
He sure does. So from Rucklin's point of view, he essentially destroyed his ship, the ship that he spent his
Sitting there blaming him for it and everything. I'm like, come on.
right, he spent his whole life, he says, I think.
Yeah, his savings, his life, everything.
Yeah, his sweat and blood into that ship, like, you know, how dare he? And
Maybe shouldn't have blown it up.
right. You guys just like, wait, so you stole the hyperfuel and you're blaming me?
Right.
Say what?
It's like, dude, you did it. I didn't put it in your ship.
Right. So at this point, Kaz now has another enemy. Rucklin and his little
Yay.
mechanic gang, I guess. Yep. I don't know what you want to call them.
Well, and so it just reminded me too. So like the whole thing with so Rucklin's been saved, his ship's blown up, and he's blaming Kaz and everything. It reminds me of like the premise of the first Incredibles movie. He's like, "Who says that I wanted to be saved? You broke my neck saving me. How dare you save me?" That's exactly what it makes me feel like.
So funny you said that, because honestly, when oh my gosh, what was it that I was thinking of a minute ago? When we were talking about something a minute ago too, I started thinking that. And that's literally, I couldn't remember what it was from, but I remember them being like a scene like that where somebody was trying to help them. And it was like, I'm only helping, kind of, but they were
I'm only helping the Stickers commercial.
No, I know. But I'm just saying, like, it's like one of those things where like, I'm only helping, but like, no, I don't want your help. Like, I was trying to do that or something. So that's what kind of reminded me of when he like jumped on the ship and was like, hey, get out. Like,
yeah.
I didn't want your help, like, but I couldn't think. That's what I was thinking of, though, was like a situation where somebody helped them, and they were like,
and then they sued the superhero. Yeah, you ruined my life. Why did you save me? You were trying to kill yourself.
Exactly. I'm still alive.
Right. But that's exactly what that reminded me of. But yeah, so he's got a new enemy.
Yeah, Yeager's like, we don't need this attention, and they kind of just walked off.
Well, Yeager's watching out. Did you see who was in the Tower Doza?
I could see somebody, but I couldn't tell.
Tora's dad. Staring down back at Yeager. Yeah. So that's why he's like, we don't need this attention, Kaz. You need to chill out.
Oh, I didn't. I guess that he is the captain of that station. So, I didn't even realize that was him, though. I just was like, ooh. The big baddie over there, but couldn't tell who.
Yeah.
But that makes a lot of sense now. Thank you.
Yeah.
So they kind of walk off, and Kaz is all like down and, you know, mad about himself. And it's kind of like, I can understand if you want to fire me. Like, I get it. And then it's so funny because you're just like, just get back to work. And he's like, I understand. He's like, wait, what?
Come again for Big Fudge?
Right. So, I mean, you know, one of the things that Yeager says about Kaz, which I think is something we realized a little bit ago, too, is he's like, you're a good person.
Yeah. He's like, you suck as a mechanic.
Right.
You're an even worse spy, but you got a good heart.
Pretty much.
You got heart, kid.
Yeah, he does. And Kaz is a good little person, and, you know, he's still learning and trying to find himself. And not only find himself, he's trying to take on like a mission that I honestly don't think he was quite ready for. I think
he's not ready for it all.
Yeah, he just was ready to kind of do something that didn't involve him, I think, and that's kind of what spurs him on.
Yeah, absolutely.
He wants to be like a hero. And
yeah, well, and that's the thing, is that the way that he's kind of glorified the Resistance is that as soon as Poe is like, I could use your help, you go do this for the Resistance, he's like, man, I'm a Resistance hero. All right, let's do this.
Right.
And that's not how it is, and Yeager's trying to keep him grounded.
Right.
And I think that that's really important for his character. But I'm really eager to see what comes of Kaz.
Me too.
Because, I mean, the first 3 episodes have basically been just kind of setting who he is and everything. And, I mean, he's not the brightest. He's not even the most mature.
Right.
But at the same time, he's got heart.
He does.
And he wants to do the right thing. He wants to help people. And at the center, I think that that's what the message is there.
Yeah.
Because that's what's most important.
Yeah, most definitely.
So I'm excited to see what comes of him in the next few episodes and everything. Because we are 3 episodes in of a 10-episode series so far, or season so far.
Yes.
Which a few of the episode names have already been kind of released. We're not going to spoil those if you haven't already seen them, but there's a couple of them that I'm very interested in.
Excited about.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll talk about them.
Absolutely. So cool. So did you have any other final thoughts or anything like that?
I don't. So I guess that pretty much wraps up our episode, unless you had anything else.
No, I enjoyed this episode.
Yeah.
It wasn't very eventful in the way of the greater canon of Star Wars or anything like that, but it tells the story of a guy named Kaz. And so far, I like this guy.
Yeah.
I think
me
he's
too.
cool.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I'm just excited to see where this goes, where it takes us, and just to kind of figure out how this all relates. Or I guess not relates, how it all connects, because we know it does. We know. We've already got Poe in it. We've seen Leia. You know what I mean? Like, we know that it falls in line with the movies. We just got to figure out, like, because it's kind of like, it reminds me of Rogue One a lot right now. Because with Rogue One, I think we were just getting another Star Wars movie, and we didn't really realize at first how well it was going to fit in to it until we got, because I don't think we even learned that until about halfway through it, when we get the video from,
oh yeah, the whole thing connecting it with the Death Star and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So I don't think we realized, how, it was going to connect. And I think this is going to have a really big connection and a really big ending, and I'm just really excited for that.
No, absolutely.
So I'm not ready for it to end necessarily. I'm ready for answers.
Yeah. And again, like with Star Wars Rebels, it took about 5 episodes or so for them to really catch their stride as far as like setting the characters and everything.
Right.
Getting everybody where they wanted them to be, and then it was like, all right, and now you're in canon. Let's get into the meat of the story. So I'm excited to see where Resistance goes and what we get to learn and all this other kind of stuff. Pre-Force Awakens. So yeah.
Yes, most definitely. Well, that wraps up our review of Resistance Fuel for the Fire. It's going to be season 1, episode 3. So thank you so much, everyone, for listening or watching another episode of Kessel Run Weekly. If you enjoyed this episode or any of our previous episodes, please make sure you go and rate and review us on iTunes. If you leave us a 5-star review, we will read it on our future episode.
Absolutely.
Most definitely. You can also find us on social media. We're on at Kessel Run Weekly. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all the cool ones. No, I'm just kidding. We actually have a website. KesselRunWeekly.com. So you can visit us there. We actually have a box, I think, on our website too, where you can comment, leave us like a message.
So if you're not an emailing kind of person, just head over to KesselRunWeekly.com, and there's a suggestion box there that you can leave us some show suggestions, comments, anything like that, because we love to hear from you. That's 98% of the fun of this, is that we get to hear from you fellow Star Wars fans and all the cool stuff that you guys think and want to hear about and get to talk about crazy theories, all that cool stuff. So we love hearing from you. So let's use that box.
Yeah, most definitely. We love you guys. So I think me and Danny have both said multiple times that I think our favorite part about doing what we do is being able to interact with you guys.
Absolutely, definitely. That's what makes it most fun.
It does. It definitely does. I mean, sitting down and talking about Star Wars every week is really fun too.
Absolutely.
But we love being able to share a common interest and a common knowledge.
And we've met so many new friends through this. So,
we have. We're very excited about meeting a lot of you face to face in Chicago.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, so don't forget to follow us on social media, rate our episode, a 5-star review. We love you forever. And visit our website so you can leave us any comments or questions or anything like that. But, yeah.
Awesome. So until next time, guys, my name is Danny.
And I'm Kristen.
And may the Force be with you.
Always.